Ethereum looking extremely bearish. How low is it going to go? In today's episode, we're going to look at Ethereum chart analysis as well as the latest news from Michael Saylor on Ethereum, as well as what is happening on June the 25th that all Ethereum holders must know about. Guys, hello and welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos on Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies, so you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in Ethereum, as well as Cardano, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Okay, before we jump into the charts and look at exactly what is happening with Ethereum today, we're going to look at what is happening on June the 25th. And in the past, we've looked at Ethereum options expiries, and what they've had in terms of results has been quite significant. Basically, options allow people to put a call or a put option to decide the price of a particular asset at a given time. And obviously on the 25th is a huge expiry that's going to happen on a lot of options for Ethereum. And what that means is suddenly on the 25th, a lot of people are going to be forced to either buy at a certain price or sell at another price, putting a lot of new crypto into the marketplace or perhaps taking a lot of new crypto away. And obviously this is going to have a big impact on the price. And if we look at the different dates here, we can see that the one that's happening on the 25th of June is going to be huge, significantly higher, perhaps more than twice as high as the last one that happened back at the end of the year. So the 25th is going to be a really interesting day in my opinion. It's going to have a huge impact on the price as well, because just around the corner after that we've got the upgrade, which is obviously going to potentially have a huge impact on the market. Okay, so on the 25th, around $3.6 billion due to expire. It's important to note that an aforementioned expiry is 33% larger than the one that took place on the 26th of March. How the market unfolded after the first quarter expiry. So 5 days before that last expiry, the price had dropped of around 15.35%, and following that it surged by around 60%. So what we're seeing in Ethereum right now is potentially a bit of a drop that's happening due to the potential for the options expiry. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few days, because it's only about a week away. Obviously today being the 18th, is pretty much a week today. We're going to see something major happening in Ethereum, so obviously something to be paying attention to right now. Okay, so it's basically between the bears and bulls, who are making all the calls, who are making all the puts, and the number of which expires obviously plays a big part in terms of the ratio. Okay, so there's a huge amount of call options. Okay, so huge amount of buy options at 2,200 with higher strikes. It means that Ether's price basically needs to be above $2,200 for when the expiry takes place for these 97,000 call options to come into play. Otherwise these options will be completely worthless. So obviously if it's above $2,200, 97,000 buys of varying sizes will be flooded into the market, and obviously that will have a huge impact on the buy price. However, if it falls below, then that's wiped away and nothing is counted. Also worth noting is the 75,000 put options, which will be sell options, which will need to be at 2,100 or lower. So if the price is below $2,100, then we could see a load of sells flooding into the market, and obviously the same thing is likely to happen, but obviously it's going to have a much more bearish sentiment. Now jumping over to Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor obviously being one of the big Bitcoin bulls. He has been a bit of a purist when it comes to Bitcoin, hasn't really been particularly interested in other cryptocurrencies, but he seems to have changed his mind on Ethereum. And you've seen Michael Saylor buying huge amounts of Bitcoin on any dip that's come along, and perhaps next time that we see an Ethereum dip, we may see Michael Saylor putting money into Ethereum. Okay, he's now saying that there's places for all cryptos, that all cryptos serve different purposes. In addition, he said while Bitcoin acts as a digital property, Ethereum works on disrupting traditional finance, which is one of the main benefactors of cryptocurrency in general, and one of the main things that people are paying attention to, particularly given the financial situation in the world at the moment. Now if we jump into the Ethereum chart, we saw before that we were basically sort of making an ascending wedge pattern, but this then kind of got played out when we saw that kind of break down below, and it's created more now of a symmetrical triangle pattern. And as I speak, we've been for the last, this is on the 4-hour chart, for the last sort of day or so, we've been playing around with this level down at around the $2,300 level, but it does look literally right as I speak that we are potentially going to break below this orange line. Now if we zoom further out, this white sort of wedge pattern we've been playing around in for a significant amount of time, probably since the beginning of the year, and it potentially could offer us some sort of support because we haven't really broken below this level. We did very shortly on a period back around the sort of 24th of May, but we haven't really found anywhere that we can drop below this pattern. And if we are to drop below this pattern, then things are looking quite ominous for Ethereum in my opinion. But as we speak, we still haven't necessarily broken out of this orange pattern. We do still hold some sort of, and we are still holding support there. However, we do need to see a good piece of volume if we are to see a drop to the downside out of this pattern. Otherwise we could see a bit of a drop out and we could get faked out, and then we could bounce back towards the upside of this pattern. But you know, the way things are looking, in my opinion, this is looking quite ominous. But bearing in mind that Bitcoin at the moment is still kind of playing around in its pattern, it has come down. Looks like Bitcoin is going to potentially find support at the top of the symmetrical triangle that it's been playing around in. But Bitcoin has been gathering strength. And when Bitcoin gathers strength, it does tend to mean that sometimes Ethereum can lag behind a little bit. Now in terms of this symmetrical triangle pattern, we do need to then take the height from the top of it to the bottom, sort of biggest where it basically began, and take that all the way to our breakout point. And as you can see, that would then see us dropping down to around this sort of $1,350 level. Now, as I've mentioned already, you know, I don't necessarily think it might come this low. We could see a good piece of resistance coming at around this white line at around the 2,134, and also $2,000 previously has offered a good deal of resistance on the way up and potentially a good deal of support, potentially holding it above that level. So it'll be very interesting to see that if it does take this drop, whether it is going to be able to drop below $2,000 and be able to sustain itself below that. If also we look down at the RSI, we are moving down towards the kind of oversold levels, and previously every time we touched an oversold level we bounced back up. Here around the sort of 8th of June we had another bounce where we sort of came down to around 2,328 and we bounced all the way back up to 2,657. Here again we saw it hitting the oversold level once, where we went from around $1,800 all the way back up to $3,000, and then again we touched all the way down to $1,750, and then we came back all the way up to $2,296. So that will be interesting as well to see what is playing out. Given that there's a good piece of news coming around the corner, it wouldn't shock me that we would potentially see the market being driven lower to get people in at lower potential cost and allow people to have cheap buys with potentially good news coming up. And we do often see this when we see good news coming around the corner, being in the expiring options, being in the upgrade that's coming in early July, and all looking particularly exciting. But in the shorter term, the way I see things playing out in what I see right now is that we are going to be taking a dip to the downside. Now that might not happen, we may get faked out, we may come back up, but in my opinion it's looking particularly bearish. What I'll be looking for in terms of taking a trade, obviously we are starting to poke our head out of the pattern here, is if we have a good amount of volume and that we can close perhaps a 4-hour candle outside of this pattern before I look to perhaps take a short position. Because in terms of risk reward, we can put perhaps our stop loss back just inside the pattern or back just above this last 4-hour candle with the potential to make a huge profit here. So things are looking particularly good if you're going to look to short the market. If you're holding, then potentially you're going to see a really great opportunity to be able to buy some more crypto in the coming hours or coming days, as I potentially see us moving further in a bit of a continuation pattern. And obviously we've been seeing this drop and this sort of continuation pattern for quite some time now, so things are looking pretty good for making a move in the shorter term. If you're holding Bitcoin or Ethereum or other cryptocurrencies and you want to make a passive income on it, then there's no better place in my opinion than to head over to BlockFi.com. I'll leave a link down in the description, mainly because the fees are super low. You can trade a number of the big cryptocurrencies, USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., and you can get up to 8.6% yield. So if the market's coming down, at least you're still making a passive income, and then when it comes back up again, you're being paid that interest in Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc., whatever you choose. And if you use the link down below, you can get up to a $250 bonus when you sign up today. It doesn't take more than about 10 minutes, perhaps even 5 minutes. So I really recommend heading over there now and making the most of another opportunity to make your crypto work for you. If you can hold, then this is the best opportunity in my opinion. Guys, just a really quick update on what I see happening in Ethereum today. Obviously, you know, not as positive as I would like to bring to you. Obviously, we all are happier when Ethereum is going up, but you know, the markets are obviously never going to move in straight lines, and they are due to cool off. And this is perhaps the cool off that we need before seeing a great pump to the upside. So it's a good opportunity potentially to load up on new crypto and to make the most of this downtrend. Guys, obviously, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure you go away and do your own research. Trading is risky and you can lose all of your investments, so make sure you look after your hard-earned money. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.